Hey guys. I'm Deanna. I am going to be doing a few of these Facebook Lives for you guys just to do some FaceTime with you about some of the questions that I get asked a lot. And, one of the biggest questions I get asked is how to eat. How to eat during pregnancy, how to eat after pregnancy, how to eat before pregnancy. It's one of those topics that everyone seems to struggle with. And, we think we know what we're supposed to eat, but a lot of times we have trouble executing that. And, I have a three-part system that I try to help people balance out what they're eating. And I wanted to share that with you guys. It's really easy. It's real simple. There's 3 checks to it. And you just have to try to keep those 3 things in balance. One of those things is, something that makes sense. It's what we think about when we think of healthy eating. And the other 2 are a little bit less obvious and maybe not what you might think. So we're going to talk about those 3 things. The first thing is the obvious one, and that's nutrition. You need to check your nutrition anytime you're deciding what to eat, how much to eat, and when you're choosing your food. So the first balance is nutrition, and you need to just kind of know healthy eating 101. Healthy foods are whole foods. Whole foods are foods that when you're looking at them, they look like they do in nature. So you're talking about, grains, fruits and vegetables, meat and dairy. When I say grains, I mean whole grains. Legumes, nuts and seeds, healthy fats like avocado, olive oil. Those are all whole foods. And you can usually find those around the perimeter of your grocery store. They usually don't come with like a list of ingredients. They just are the ingredient. They're coming like they do in nature. So that's the number one thing that you want to look for, is that you're eating mostly whole healthy foods 80 to 90% of the time. And some weeks are going to look better with that. Some weeks are going to look worse, but that's your first check. So when you're picking your food and when you're choosing what you're going to eat on a day-to-day basis, you want to meet your nutrition You want to meet nutrition goals and make sure that you are addressing your nutrition. Getting those vitamins and minerals are going to help you to knock out cravings. Sometimes your body just has cravings and you think that you have low willpower, but what's actually happening is you're either under fueling your body or you're not getting certain nutrients and your body's still looking for them. And so it's sending you hunger signals or eat signals. Because you're not meeting those nutrition goals. So a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, especially vegetables. Get as many different kinds of vegetables as you can in a week. And meet those nutrition goals. So that's the first thing. Self-care is knowing what your body needs and giving that to your body. So when you have a craving or when you're having, when you're obsessing over food, kind of think of it in an investigative term. In an investigative way, like what can my body be asking for? Am I getting enough to eat? Am I meeting those nutrition goals? Is that something that I'm, balancing correctly? And you're going to feel your best when your diet is mostly whole foods. That's a feeling that you're going to enjoy, and especially if you notice it, and you've got to make a strong positive association with when I eat nutritious food, I feel really good afterwards. When you know that when you eat like a big salad, it's full of vegetables and protein, that you are going to be feeling good after you eat it. You're not going to feel heavy. You're not going to feel bloated. You're going to feel great. So that is the first thing that you need to balance in your diet, nutrition. That's your first check. The second thing that you need to balance in your daily food intake that most people don't think about is your restriction. And a lot of us, when you're pregnant, when you're postpartum, when you're trying to have a baby, just most times in your life have struggled with restriction at some point or another. Restriction is that feeling of, I can't have this. And, it also can sometimes look like a rule around food. I can't eat this. And the word that you're listening for is can't. And sometimes there's good reasons to say the word can't. Sometimes you are being mindful and you notice that food makes you feel gross. It makes you feel yucky. And so that's being mindful if you're avoiding it for the most part. But if you're just saying, I can't have that because I won't lose weight if I eat that, or I can't eat this because this diet says I can't, or this meal plan says I can't. Those are kind of little red flags for disordered eating patterns, honestly. Restriction is the root of disordered eating. So you have to really be careful. When you're thinking about eating, you want to be making educated choices based on how you're feeling, and not on an arbitrary rule or something that someone said, threw out there, and you're just following along blindly. You want to always be thinking about how you're feeling. So your mindset around food is incredibly powerful. If you tell yourself that, no, I can't have that, that creates a scarcity mindset. Scarcity mindset is when you're feeling like something is scarce, you can't have it. What that does is creates this intense feeling around the food that you can't have. It's this underlying feeling of I can't have that. And then when you're faced with it, what happens is you're like, oh my God, this food is so scarce. I can't just, and when your willpower inevitably breaks down, you're going to overdo it because you're like, all the food, I get to have it now, I need to have it. And that actually comes from a primal instinct that we have built into our old ancient brains. Back when we were, hunters and gatherers in the Paleolithic times, we would go for long periods of time without finding food. So food would, we would be hunting, and so food would be scarce. And when something's scarce, your brain has a defense mechanism where it will automatically start obsessing over whatever it is that is scarce, so that you can find it. And that was a helpful thing back in the ancient times. In current times, it's not so. It works against us. So when you're in scarcity mode, you're telling yourself no carbs whatsoever. And so all of a sudden your brain views carbs as being scarce, and it's going to be looking everywhere. Every time it'll be super sensitive to carbs because they're scarce. And even though you're telling yourself, no, can't have it, what ends up happening is the moment that you lose willpower, you have a slip up. Instead of just having like one piece of bread, you're going to have 10. You're going to eat the whole basket at the table, right? How many times has that happened to you? Like, raise your hand. Me. It's happened to me quite a bit. So that's the scarcity mindset working against you. So you need to go into food with an abundance mindset. I can have anything I want. Nothing is off the table. There are foods that I choose to have less of because they don't make me feel good, because I know that my body doesn't react well to them, because they're not so good for my health, because they don't get me as close to my goals. But that's a decision I'm making. It's not a rule. And I'm in abundance mindset. So I know that if I want that food, if I change my mind, if I make a different decision, I can have it. So that's the restriction mindset that we're trying to get out of. So you need to check your restriction. If you're feeling like you're not able to eat the foods that you want to eat, that your diet is not what you want it to be, you need to constantly be asking yourself, am I being too restrictive? And if you are in that restrict mindset, you're probably feeling a lot of shame along with you go back and forth between willpower and shame. And the willpower part is when you're just relying on it so heavily and you think you're doing okay, and then inevitably you slip up, and then you fall into a feeling of shame because you did slip up. And this starts the cycle, and it goes over and over and over again. So that also, it's not good for you because it's a disordered eating pattern, and it also can lower your metabolism when you're going back and forth between being really strict and being extremely, overdoing it. That can mess with your metabolism if you do that over a long period of time. So that's definitely something that you want to be avoiding, and just be aware of it. If ask yourself every day, am I meeting my nutrition goals, and am I being too restrictive? If you're being too restrictive, then it's time to allow yourself to have a little bit of what it was you were restricting yourself from, and give yourself that permission, and then make a decision about it rather than a rule, if that makes any sense. Okay, and then also this kind of goes into, this kind of works with the second check of restriction. Check your satisfaction levels. Everything you're eating on a day-to-day basis should be satisfying. And if you're not meeting your satisfaction levels, if you're not meeting that satisfaction goal on a daily basis, you're going to feel like you're lacking in your diet. You're lacking in pleasure. And what's going to happen is you're going to, that feeling is going to build until you get like to the weekend, and then you eat all the pleasurable foods and you're 2 steps backwards. And that's not how anybody wants to live. Like, if you have ever experienced that feeling where during the week you do just fine, but then you get to the weekends and you just lose it, you just go crazy, that is probably a result of not having high enough satisfaction levels in your day-to-day eating habits. So you've got to check the satisfaction of every single one of your meals. Make sure that you're not, you want to find the healthy meals that meet your nutrition needs, that you really enjoy and are looking forward to. And they're out there. You just have to find them. You have to do some experimenting. And don't force feed yourself any food, ever. Like, don't just scarf something down because it's good for you, or because it's going to help you lose weight, or because a diet plan said to. You want to make sure that you're finding those healthy foods out there that you really enjoy and that you're going to look forward to on a day-to-day basis. And that's the first part. And then change it up when you get bored. Variety is the spice of life. I like to tell my clients and the women who write to me that I like to tell them that you can be as repetitive as possible, because it makes it easier. But when you start to feel that like you're dreading eating or you're dreading your meals, change it up, find something new. And it takes a little bit of work to do that, but it's always worth it to enjoy what you're eating. And then allow some balance. It's more important to be balanced than it is to be perfect, because it's sustainable in the long term. Perfection will take up too much energy and you'll give up, guaranteed. So when you're eating, think of adding in a little bit of fun into your day along with your nutrition. You don't want to be thinking in terms of black and white, like I'm either eating healthy or it's not healthy. Think in terms of a spectrum. So you don't want to always be bouncing back and forth between 2 extremes where, like, maybe Monday through Friday you're eating at one extreme where it's simply healthy food and you're only eating healthy food and you're kind of feeling that feeling of restriction, and then you're getting to the weekends and it's built up so much that you are letting loose and eating all the things, and you feel out of control at that point. Instead, think of every day as a spectrum, and you want to be like closer to the healthy-ish end as much as possible, because then you're meeting your nutrition goals, but also allowing some, not being completely on the extreme end, and allowing yourself some fun every day. So what I tell my clients is bring a little more Wednesday into your Saturday and bring a little more Saturday into your Wednesday. So every day should kind of look the same. If you're getting Monday through Friday, you're getting through the week, and then you're getting to the weekends and just like, I got to eat all the things. Look at the foods that you're going for on the weekends that are exciting you, the things that you're looking forward to, the things that you feel like you're craving and you can't have, and add those in small quantities to every day. So let's say that this might come from personal experience. Let's say that you're craving, or that you get to the weekends and you just want to have like 10 bowls of cereal, Frosted Flakes. and you are getting to the weekend and you're overdoing it on the Frosted Flakes. Think about trying to have a small bowl of Frosted Flakes on like Monday night, Tuesday night, whenever, just as a little snack, because you're going to be craving it anyways when you get to the weekend. So you might as well just kind of break it up into small pieces, and you're in your small snacks, and you're going to end up having less that way. And by the time you get to Saturday, you won't feel like, I've been eating so healthy all week, I just got to break loose. I got to, eat all the things, and I can't stop myself. And then your weekday looks a little more fun. You're having a little bit more pleasure built into your day. And then when you get to the weekend, you also can continue having your healthy food too, because it doesn't feel so, it doesn't feel so restrictive, and it doesn't feel so weekday. Like, your weekdays will start looking more like weekends, and so therefore your weekends can start looking a little bit more like weekdays. It's just balancing it all out and getting away from that all or nothing mindset and getting into more of a shades of gray kind of thinking. So, and then, you just also need to make sure as moms, especially with little kids and little babies, we tend to get so wrapped up in all the responsibilities that we have and all the things that we have to do that we forget to find pleasure in our days, in our day-to-day lives. Are you making sure that you're not using food as a way to find pleasure? And sometimes that happens when we're getting to the weekends and we're just letting go, and our eating habits go crazy. Sometimes it's because we're just looking for some fun. We don't know how else to have it, and food is at home, so it can be easy to use that as a way to let loose and find some of that pleasure that we're seeking. So it's a good idea to just make sure that on a day-to-day basis, I know that we're all so busy, but just take 5 minutes to pursue other means of pleasure in your life: friendships, relationships, hobbies, interests, alone time, reading a page of a book a day. Something that, even if it's a very short amount of time, get up 5 minutes before the baby gets up, or take 5 minutes of nap time to sit down and call your friend or text a friend, or whatever it is that we do with friends these days. And just pursue those things that make you happy and make you more you. And you'll see that you start to maybe rely a little bit less on food for providing you with the pleasure that you're seeking out of life. Because this is a really difficult time, and it's so easy to get wrapped up in everything that we have to do, and all the responsibilities and everybody else's needs, but you still need to have a fulfilling life. And it doesn't need to be all completely sacrificed for the sake of everybody else around you. And when you're happy, everybody else in your life will be happy too. They want you to be happy, and they enjoy being around you when you're happy. So, all right, so that's my Facebook Live talk for today. I'm going to come up with a few more things to talk to you guys about over the next few weeks. And I would love to hear from you and hear what you want me to talk about and what kind of advice you need. So shoot me, leave a comment, shoot me a message, and let me know what you're thinking about and what you'd like to hear about. And I will put together a talk for you guys. All right, it's been fun. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.